Oof. Welcome to the Relaxing Living Podcast by Ryan and Elena, your hosts.
Examples are things like cave paintings and inscriptions on ancient buildings in Egypt, Greece, and the Roman Empire. What does graffiti actually mean in our society today?
The word graffiti itself actually stems from the Italian root word graffiato, meaning scratched. The earliest forms of graffiti date back to, allegedly, 30,000 years ago in the form of prehistoric cave paintings and pictographs.
The largest preserved graffiti collection rests within the city of Pompeii, which contains more than 11,000 wall inscriptions.
Graffiti was more like modern-day texting for the Romans. They would leave messages for each other engraved in rock. But graffiti didn't really take a major artistic stand until the late 1960s in the USA.
It didn't stay the same, however. It was changed in the Roman era, but how exactly was it changed? It came into play during a time when people were throwing off tradition and authority of the past. The early 60s to 70s was the birth of graffiti in the US, but unlike the individualistic culture that was on the rise, graffiti was not always accepted.
Most graffiti came from African American and Latino minority culture. It was not accepted because of a negative people group that was often associated with it. Graffiti was often used by drug gangs and violent groups as a threat or a way of marking territory. World-famous skateboarder Tony Hawk advocated against graffiti in a PSA in the 1980s. In the short film that was made, the graffiti was described as a federal offense, and the people performing graffiti were described as non-intellectual. It was also associated with the skateboarding community.
He was viewed by many as a way of defacing public property. The artist behind the work viewed the act of a way of self-expression. Graffiti seems like the perfect art movement of our time. Highly individualistic, focused on self-expression, disregarding previous society norms, and not concerning itself with democratic norms.
I mean, the graffiti artists never petitioned the government to allow them to use public space, or they never started a political campaign to make their ideas legitimate. It is the system itself that this art movement is protesting in nature.
The mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, that
Impressionism graffiti was more abstract art than the various tags before. In this way, the popularity of Impressionism art spread quickly, as people saw it everywhere they went in big cities.
It is also currently being spread through the vessel of graffiti.
Just imagine what graffiti would be like 20 years from now. Maybe people would be a little bit more accepting of it then.
In the future, it would be considered vandalism or what we call art.
Well, this concludes the Relaxing Living podcast featuring Ryan and Lena. Join us next time to learn more about something else. Goodbye.